been the key to your success so far?
Different individuals stepping up.
Hello guys and welcome to another Big Innings, America's Cricket Show, and we're back with another MLC recap after we witnessed an incredible match between the Seattle Orcas and the San Francisco Unicorns. This one had all the ups and downs, a lot of ins and outs, and Nate, I was really intrigued throughout this match. The Orcas, they won the toss, they elected to bat first today. That's the way they went, and it proved to work for them as they walk away with a win and what ended up being dominating fashion over the San Francisco Unicorns.
Right, I thought, here we go, we're going to have a really good game.
Yeah.
That's what I thought after the first innings, especially, towards the end of the first innings. I kind of thought that maybe San Francisco would have wanted to have,
I agree.
Seattle would have wanted to have a few more runs there. But yeah, it ended up being a blowout. I really kind of thought with Harmeet on the bench, we haven't seen him bat yet.
Yeah.
You know how explosive he was in minor league cricket. He basically won the league for his team by way of making it into the playoffs in the first place, right, by overcoming a ridiculous net run rate gap himself almost, by when they pinched him up the order, batted him to open in minor league. And so we know what he's capable of. He's going to strike high. He's going all or nothing. And I felt like I would have loved to see him get in there at the very end of the last couple overs.
Sure.
Especially when you only lost 4 wickets.
Yeah.
But I felt like this is a game where they could have scored 190. But yeah, guess who did come in though and score a few at the end?
Shubham Ranjane. Nate came over to me. He brought me some food right before the innings was over, and we go look. Last ball, Shubham Ranjane. 4 runs to finish, and I go, Nate, it's friggin' Shubham Ranjane. It's his show. It's his world, and we're just living in it. But another guy who's making it his world is Aaman Anwar. I mean, he has been really impressive, and we said coming into today, none of the openers from any team, whether they're domestic, whether they're international, have really made a true impact
Except for the very first game.
Yes, with Devin Conway.
Yes.
But other than that, you haven't really seen a lot of the good starts. Today, Aaman Anwar was terrific.
He was absolutely fantastic, and you see the class that we're used to seeing from him in the minor league, because he's very, very dominant in minor league cricket. He's so much fun to watch, an explosive batter. I saw him the other day on the elevator, and it was pretty cool, like seeing him in person after watching him so much in minor league. But yeah, Shehan Jayasuriya and him put together a pretty solid partnership. We're used to seeing 2 wickets in the power play in this league so far, and they managed to preserve a wicket all the way up until the very end of the power play. But yeah, they went, I think, 44 runs on that on that partnership, which was, I texted you right then. I said, could this be the big domestic partnership that we need? It wasn't quite the big domestic partnership we needed, but it was a good start.
It was a very good start for them, and I think it's what the Seattle Orcas needed, because, again, you lose Quinn DeCock in that second over, and things could have really gone out of hand. You could have lost. Well, if you lose Anwar or Jayasuriya in that position, you expose Clausen early.
Right.
You bring out Hetmeyer a little bit earlier. I don't think there's a lot of depth in this batting in terms of, yes, you have the Harmeet Singh, but you have a lot of good middle order players, and you want them to be in that middle order finishing role.
Yes.
You don't want to expose them too early, right? That's with a lot of teams. And so for this Seattle team, I think it's important for them to hold those wickets, and for Shehan Jayasuriya to put his hand up, for Aaman Anwar to put his hand up, was really terrific. I thought they played some beautiful shots. Shehan showed the innovation that we all see. We saw the scoop of Carmine LaRue, and I just was sitting there smiling because Carmine LaRue, playing for the East Bay Blazers, would have probably seen that 100 times, seeing Shehan Jayasuriya do that for the Silicon Valley Strikers.
And San Francisco had to be thinking, oh, we got him cheap. When we had the review, it hit him up high on the arm for the caught behind, so it wasn't a catch after all. It wasn't a wicket after all. But yeah, we're used to seeing a lot of creativity from Shehan Jayasuriya, and I want to see him explode on this particular ground. And we're going to Church Street Park next in Morrisville in a few days, which he's familiar with that ground. He's played there both finals weekends in minor league cricket. So yeah, but look at this team. I don't think a lot of people had Seattle picked to go 2-0 at this point.
Yeah. I think the big difference was probably the late addition of Jerome Hetmeyer. I think he adds a lot to that middle order.
And this is the thing, the late addition of Hetmeyer. We talked a little bit amongst ourselves. I thought he went a little bit too. I felt like he was a little bit too. Yes, I mean the great thing about Hetmeyer is he can bat in any situation.
Yeah.
You can bat him 1 through 6.
Yep.
You can bet him anywhere. So that's an awesome addition to this team. When they picked him up, I said, oh, now they've really got something. But he came into the camp late,
right?
And so or at least they announced him late. And so I wonder if he understands. I mean, obviously he's got to be familiar with what Wayne Parnell can do with the bat. But I wonder how familiar he is with Harmeet. Obviously he played responsibly. He did his job, and he scored when the ball was there to be scored. So there's no way to. I'm being very picky here. Really, it's literally I'm fanboying. I'm fanboying.
No, we'd all
Harmeet
love
Singh
to see
here.
Jerome Hetmeyer and all those guys hit big. I thought the wicket today, it wasn't the easiest of batting conditions. I thought there were a couple balls that did something extra, and I thought he handled the situation well.
Yeah.
And again, yes, he probably could have played a couple more shots, and we're more accustomed to seeing him play.
Right. It wasn't the end of their batting, is my point.
Right. No, and I definitely agree with that. But I thought he was very responsible, as you mentioned, with his innings. And we do have a comment in here that I kind of want to touch on from Cricket Datashan. Thank you so much for coming back. We saw you yesterday. Liam Plunkett, again, was interesting today as well. 2 wickets, an economy of 9, so it looked good. But there were a couple of moments where, tried the slower ball and it looped up right into the hitting arc of Jerome Hetmeyer. A no ball. I thought he was good. I don't think it was the sharpest day, though.
No, it wasn't. But we got a few more comments from guys. This is great. I love the interactions here. Joe Hickey chiming in.
Love it,
Good old Joe Hickey, who's just been announced as the Lashings analyst out there.
Yeah,
in minor
congratulations,
league
Joe. He's well deserved. He pulls out a stat that you've never even thought of. Or like, how do you even calculate this thing? And he just has it.
And he's got it there. He's the perfect analyst for them. So, Joe, thanks for joining in here. He's talking about the Shehan having a few close shaves for Seattle against the Bay Area, which is a fun reversal of the big moment at Church Street Park last season. So, Shehan Jayasuriya, they lost last year to Seattle. Yep. And he was unable to really come through for them in that game. Oh, that Seattle bowling attack, we don't have to get going on that.
Right. But we'd be here all night.
But we can talk about this Seattle bowling attack now.
Yeah, sure. And they were not the Seattle bowling attack that made early inroads that we expected, because this game, for the first part of that Unicorns innings, belonged to the Unicorns. Talk about Finn Allen and Matthew Wade.
Right.
Look at this third over here. All right. Wayne Parnell, the captain, bowling. It goes 4.6444.
Right.
Boosting them from 19 to 41 in and over. Yeah. And I'm hearing the Unicorns fans going berserk, and you're thinking, wow, if these two stick in, it could be a very quick one. But this was a story of the game, and I thought Aaron Finch said it best in the post-game interview that he had. He said, we started to build partnerships, and then we lost them when we needed them the most.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, their power play started off fantastic. 42 runs before Finn Allen got out.
Let's not brush over that run out, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Shehan Jayasuriya with the wits about him to go and throw it in. It's a good direct hit.
Yes.
Bat got stuck in the ground. There's no denying that.
But the lackadaisical effort down the pitch. I feel like I'm kind of happy he got. I'm not happy now. I feel like, look, he deserved it. That's all I'm going to say. He deserved it, and I feel like it was almost like a slight on his opinion of the athleticism of the fielder, that he just trotted down the wicket, and I feel like he deserved to get it gunned down. You know, like I mean, it was insulting if you ask me. I think he's going to get bad about it. He's a young player. I'm not trying to tear him to pieces. He's a million times better than nearly anything I've seen before. I mean, like he's super good. But I mean, it's kind of offensive to see someone. You have to be aware. You have to be more aware of that. And I don't doubt that he was aware. Right. I doubt that he just didn't think that was going to happen.
Right. That's fair. Again, I think both of them knew it was a single straight away. It was just you saw when that throw got released, it almost felt like Wade was in his crease.
Yeah,
and you still had quite a way to go for Finn Allen. And yeah, I can see your point where it was that lackadaisical.
It
maybe
was almost a walk. He was almost walking.
Yeah, and I could see that.
And John Boy tweeted about it.
Yeah, John Boy.
John Boy, who's supporting the San Francisco team because of the players there who have played in
It's not because of the name. It's not because of they give you props like these. If you come to the game, you get a unicorn
horn. Right? Which you were jumping up and down wearing that.
Thank you very. There's a picture out there. I won't tell you who has it because I don't know if anyone wants to find that photo.
He was in a leotard.
Now we're just jumping to anything, Nate. Maybe I need that photo to leak so we can get the leotard.
Yeah, you're jumping around in a leotard with a horn on your head. At least it was on your head, though. But yeah, so we got some more comments here from some of our viewers here. Somebody wants to know how they can watch the matches in Sri Lanka. Well, honestly, I don't remember, but they did list that, I believe, on one of the tweets on the Major League Cricket Twitter account.
Yeah, in India you can watch it on Geo. So if that is a channel there that you can watch in Sri Lanka, you can always try Geo. I'm not sure what the Sri Lankan channel was, though, that they had announced.
But if you go through the media on the Twitter account back a few days, you won't have to go that far back, 4 or 5 days. You should see a graphic that has that on there. Yeah, so also another thing, you know, we were talking about Wayne Purnell getting pumped early on. Like yesterday, we saw Seattle bowl 5 bowlers. Today, they actually bowled 6 bowlers.
They tried Shehan today.
They tried Shehan. They brought Shehan in, the off spinner. Now, San Francisco, in their innings, only bowled 2 overs a spin the whole time.
Yeah, they went Shadab Khan just with the 2 overs, and you know, Shadab had some mixed results. He had a couple of nice overs, and then there were some overs where, you know, maybe he was getting hit a little bit more.
He had the 1 bad over and a 1 decent over, pretty much.
So it was got to give and take. And we looked at their 11. You really have 1 traditional spinner, and then you have a Chaitanya Bishnoi who can give you that left arm orthodox if you were looking for it.
Right, but they didn't really have much spin options.
Right.
So, but honestly, I feel like Cameron Gannon's innings bowling in the second innings showed that they really didn't necessarily need it.
Right.
The way that Cameron bowled, the way that Liam bowled, and the way that Carmi bowled showed that they really didn't, and you know, Stoinis as well. Showed that they
Andrew Ty was terrific.
Andrew Ty for Seattle was fantastic. But all these, I don't really have a problem with them only going two overs a spin.
Sure.
I mean, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, obviously they know. But there's one thing for me. I made the note here, and I said it to you a couple times. Harmeet Singh to me was the difference with the ball in this match.
Right.
You see, Finn Allen gets run out, and then Matthew Wade gets out the very next over from Imad Wasim.
Right.
But they're 57 for 2 after 5. It's a great platform to go ahead and chase 178.
Sure.
Right? And right now you have Stoinis and Aaron Finch in the middle. So it's not like it's an easy task. And Harmeet Singh does none other than go 4 overs for 15 runs. Doesn't get a wicket, but an economy of 3.75, bowling primarily to those guys.
Right.
Primarily, and when he wasn't bowling to Marcus Stoinis, it was Corey Anderson who scored 91 yesterday. To me, Harmeet Singh has been outstanding with the ball in hand, and to me, changed the momentum of this game entirely.
Well, he's a big player. He's as we said before, he's a big player in minor league, and he made an impact on both of these games so far. Both of the wins so far for him. He is the Seattle minor league superstar. Last year, they drafted him with the first pick overall. There's the reason for that because he can perform both, you know, in 2 ways, in a couple of ways, and he's a good leader too. So, terrific, you know, absolutely fantastic. Now, Seattle went with 8 overs a spin.
Yes, they did.
They gave 3 to Imad Wasim, who once again was pretty good. Took 2 wickets, but yeah, that Cameron Gannon. The Cameron Gannon, Quentin de Kock combo at the end there for the last 3 wickets.
That was an unbelievable catch.
Yeah.
And an unbelievable final 4 deliveries that featured 3 wickets in there. I also noticed you saw a lot of the Seattle bowlers hitting the deck, going a lot shorter, back of a length, almost short balls towards the end. And I'm wondering if on this surface, more teams are going to continue to do that because Cameron Gannon, he did that, took 4 wickets. Andrew Ty, he did that, took 2 wickets.
Right.
Wayne Parnell was good hitting when he started going a little bit shorter. So is that a ploy now that we're going to see out of more teams.
Yeah, I think so. I think we are, as the teams are feeling this out. I think you're right. We have another question here from Tashin. This is a good question. I like this one here because it addresses the fact that well, I'll just read the question.
Yep.
Tajinder gives his office to the Unicorn. Now, I have a question, he says. Rather than keeping both Bishnoi and Tajinder, would you bring in someone like a Ponzo or Couch? Now, considering that particular role is kind of gone unused by the team, I kind of like where he's going with this.
No, I agree.
Especially the Aponzo aspect there.
I agree because
or Couch even.
Couch,
I mean,
but we
triple down
on
the
speed.
speed.
But we mentioned it is I think every player was going to get the first 2 games. If you play in the first game, you're going to play in the second game because they want to see it.
Yeah.
Tajinder Bishnoi got one over in the first match they played. Got hit.
Yeah.
Got out there to bat, tough situation, but didn't really show a lot.
Sure.
Now, he's a plenty talented cricketer.
Of course
but
he is.
He just didn't show a lot in that moment.
Right.
So have they decided, okay, we've seen enough of Tajinder Bishnoi, or have we seen enough of Tajinder Singh, who hasn't really fired with the bat in either inning either?
Yeah.
And they don't seem to want to bowl him.
Right.
Now you can look at Amila Aponzo
Sure.
or a Brody Couch, right, if you want to double down. But
one.
I think getting an extra spin option is never a bad idea, especially a left arm spin.
I don't think it's a bad idea. And like you said, Bishnoi had one bad outing.
Yeah.
So if they believe in him, they'll stick with that.
Right.
But the thing here, they reached the Corey.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if Corey was going to bowl in this tournament,
and he did.
in this competition at all, and if he was, how much he would bowl.
Right.
But we know he's an awesome option to turn to.
Absolutely, and for this Unicorns team, they don't need him to bowl 4 overs necessarily every match.
Right.
Right. They can utilize him in different ways, but I think it really depends on how they feel about their spin options. And right now, it was just Shadab Khan. They only gave him 2 overs, so you needed 2 more overs from Corey Anderson. That's what he can bring you.
Right.
But I do think the Unicorns could look, and that's a great point by Tashin there, to get that second spinner in Amila Aponzo. Now, I'm a big Brody Couch guy. I've been raving about him ever since I first saw him. I was like, wow, this kid's amazing.
Right.
And I think he could be used, but I think because you have Carmi, Harris, Marcus Stoinis, Liam Plunkett, Corey Anderson, a 6-pace bowling option might not be what you're looking for.
Right.
And Amila Aponzo is a world-class bowler. We've seen it. We've seen him here, understand conditions. Very different to Shadab Khan almost. Can slow it down. I like the Milaponzo move if they're looking at a second spinner.
Yeah, and I mean, we have the same bowling style with Bishnoi, same bowling role with Bishnoi and Mila Aponzo. And we like we said before, Aponzo missed out on the draft.
Yes.
So he was taken in this wild card round.
Yeah.
But guess who else was also taken in the wild card round?
Who's the leading wicket taker in all of Major League Cricket names?
Exactly, Mohammad Mohsin.
There you go.
Yeah. So, who we're going to interview soon, by the way. Stay tuned for that, Mohammad. Anybody who's a TSK fan or a Mohammad Mohsin fan.
We're all Mohammad Mohsin fans, if you really think about it.
So we're going to interview him soon. But yeah, and they play tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They're 1-1.
They're 1-1. They're not in a bad spot
good
at all.
spot to be in right now. And only one of these 2 teams was going to be 2-0.
Right.
Seattle came through. Henrik Clausen was a deserving man of the match performance there. And yes, they did some good stuff at the top to middle order, really. But Quinton de Kock, man, is he going to come around with the bat here, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tricky thing, right? We haven't seen the openers really fire, but we saw Devin Conway first match. We've seen Finn Allen get accustomed, Matthew Wade get accustomed. And I think a guy like Quinn de Kock, it just takes 1 innings. And I think today he just tried to go across the line and try to force it, right? And I think because you saw the look of disgust after he got out. He's like, yeah, I shouldn't have played that shot the way I played that shot.
Yeah.
But he's too good of a cricketer to miss out consistently. He's going to come through at some point. Might not be now.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
you know what the best thing is for Seattle? Quinn de Kock is not scoring runs. And you're 2-0.
And they're 2-0.
And you're 2-0 without your premier bat not scoring.
Right.
That means your domestics up top of the order have been working, and it means your bowlers have been fantastic.
And that means Shabam Ramjani has been scoring at the end.
And again, if he it's just a crazy knack to me because this is a guy, again, last ball, he's facing it. It could have easily just been 1.
Yeah.
It could have easily just been 2. But somehow, off the bat of Shabam Ramjani, it's 4. It just happened to be, like that over, before that Ramjani faced that final delivery. 1, wide. They ran a single off that wide. Then they go 2-1-4. So they haven't scored a boundary. And then Ranjane just goes and does it. It's just an incredible knack, and
he's got a knack.
You're seeing this team develop almost like the Seattle minor league team develop, where everyone seems to be finding themselves in a role.
In a role, that's right.
That's really important. I think the quicker you can find your guys in a role, that's when you're going to see teams really stand out in this tournament. In Seattle, they seem to be doing that far quicker than others.
So it seems like to me, if you're going to make the analogy between Seattle minor league and major league, Harmeet Singh needs to bat where Quentin DeCock is. And then you move Quentin DeCock down. That's a terrible joke. That's a stupid joke. No, but obviously that was a joke, folks. I'm not a complete idiot. But yeah, Quentin DeCock needs to stay in that role.
Yes, I think that might be the smartest thing the both of us have said tonight. Quentin DeCock
the most obvious thing. And yeah, you're 2-0 without Quentin DeCock scoring. What?
It's perfect. It's like when you're in an NBA playoff series and Steph Curry has 2 off nights and still the Warriors somehow 2 up.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Just wild. Clausen, I asked him afterwards about Shoabum's knack for this. Of course, Clausen's played 2 games with him now.
Right.
But I asked you, do you guys have faith in him in this role? And he's like, he looks fantastic to him. He said he looks like a really good batter who knows what he's doing, and he knows what his options are, and he's in really good knock, and he's in really good form.
Yeah.
So it's everybody on that team seems to recognize this about him right now.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I mean, of course they do.
Yeah,
we're recognizing it there.
And I think everyone's starting to realize it too. I listened to the highlights of the match yesterday against Washington Freedom.
Yeah.
And when Ranjane scores that 4 after he comes in, you hear Danny Morrison go, Shubi, where have you been? And so me and you knew it.
Yeah,
all,
we knew
all
it.
the guys
who
in minor league, we know where he's been.
Yeah.
But now people are going to realize, and that's the beauty of Major League Cricket, putting a lot of these domestic guys on a scene where, wow, this is a guy that just has this crazy knack. You know, who's talking about Shubham Ranjane with before Major League Cricket? Everyone who's watched minor league cricket, but if you don't watch minor league cricket, you're not really talking about him.
And he kind of came from nowhere in minor league too. He was a late addition.
Late
to that
addition.
Team.
And we learned from Dashan yesterday that he's doing it in the Mumbai T20 leagues as well.
Sure.
But, this is the biggest stage he's ever been on.
Right.
And he's succeeding at a very high level.
Absolutely. And Joe Hickey says, it's good to know you've got Harmeet if Seattle needs to catch someone on net run rate down the stretch. It sounds like to me someone's going to have to catch Seattle right now.
Yeah, that's a good position to be in. And also, if you want to catch that run rate, it helps to have Quinn DeCock and Jerome Hetmeyer and Heinrich Clausen part of that batting lineup.
Absolutely. And we have a good point, another good point here. Gannon was also tight, in a tight spot, but luckily he's got today's wickets. Otherwise, Fanny Samhadri would have been itching to get a spot in the Orcas 11. That's a nice reference there.
It is a good reference. I'm not sure that Gannon was in that tight of a spot, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I thought the way he bowled in that first match, I thought he was composed and fit the role. I think what they're looking for is the hard hitter on the deck.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what because Wayne Parnell, you see him pitch him up a little bit more.
Right.
And he almost feels like he's the funny Samadhi of this team in the sense of he's the guy that he's their third pacer you use in the power play, and he's in there to just swing the ball around, pitch it up a little bit more, versus when you look at the way Andrew Ty bowls, the way Cameron Gannon bowl, a little bit back of a length, a little bit harder hitters off the deck, and they seem more to be restrict, and then Wayne Parnell seems to be the attempted wicket taker. Hasn't really panned out. But I feel like that's kind of the roles that are developing.
Well, you say it's the Fanny Samhadri of the team. I've never seen Fanny go for 80 runs in 2 games.
Well, there you go. That's also a very good point.
Now, that said, you won both of the games.
Right, and that's another thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen the best performances out of every person yet.
No.
And you're 2-0.
Your captain hasn't performed to his best of his ability. Now, he took 2 wickets last game.
Yeah.
And you'll trade that.
Yes, you will.
Depending on who you're getting, but whose wickets you're getting. But the rest of the team, look at the economy of the rest of this team here that's bowling their regular overs. It's just terrific, and they're lifting up Wayne right now as the captain, and they're making his job easier. He's bowled a grand total of 6 different bowlers in the 2 games.
Right.
And that means that people are doing their jobs.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing for Seattle. Clear, they know what they want to do, and they're not going to overcomplicate anything. They don't run from anything.
Right.
But if we move to the unicorns, right? You lose this game. We talked about bringing Amila in. I don't think there's time to hit the panic button, right? I think the one big question is going to be Aaron Finch.
Yeah.
He hasn't really shown his ability with the bat yet, and I make the point of this is a guy who hasn't played a lot of high-level cricket as of late.
Yeah.
Didn't play really in the IPL, retired from, not really playing in Australian cricket, been in the commentator's box. I talked to him about that after the first match. So this is a guy who's going to look to find form, and for the Unicorns also, you're 1-1 without Aaron Finch being Aaron Finch quite yet, right? I think that's a big reason why Aaron Finch isn't opening the batting also.
Right.
I think, maybe once Aaron Finch finds his footing, you could probably see a Finn Allen or a Matthew Wade slip, to a 1-down spot.
Yeah.
Because Finch right now is coming in at 4. When have we ever seen Aaron Finch come in at 4, really, right?
Right. I think the thing about this team, though, is you got Corey Anderson and you have Liam Plunkett as two of your overseas in the team.
Domestics.
Right? Sorry, 2 of your domestics in the team.
Yes.
And then you have, in my opinion, the best left arm fast bowler in the country as your the best quick left arm bowler. I'm not trying to say he's better than Saurabh Netravalkar, but they have a different style. So the best at doing what Carmi does from the left side.
Right.
Carmi is the best at that.
Yeah.
So you have 3 tremendous overseas right there in just those 3 players, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, Corey is a domestic, but 6 of your first batters are overseas plus Corey.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people are going to see that as a top-heavy batting. Or I mean, that's your 6 batters.
Right.
And they're all fantastic. But it's tough to argue taking them out of this order. But you've kind of relegated Tajinder Singh and Bishnoi to some pretty slim roles.
Yes, and again, I think it's going to take those 2 time to adjust to those roles because they're more accustomed to opening the batting, coming 1 down.
Yeah, yes.
And so to find that role for them is going to be tough. And so then you look to guys who are more so bowlers who come in and hit, or do you stick with the batters? I think this is going to be. Again, I think this tournament's going to be about what team can make those quick adjustments. Yeah. Because adjustments are always going to need to be made. I'm sure Seattle at some point is going to need to make an adjustment. Tonight they bowled Shehan Jayasuriya.
Right.
They're going to need to do something. And so I think every team's going to need to do that. What team can do that quickly enough to where they don't lose too many games where they're out of the tournament?
Yeah.
And when those adjustments are made, which players are going to rise to that occasion?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to decide if you're San Francisco, do you rate Bishnoi's bowling? Right. In the position he's batting in this lineup.
You would expect him to contribute with the ball because his bat isn't going to be utilized to where his skill set is. Right?
Yeah.
When you look at his stats, he's a guy whose strike rate is around 112 through T20 cricket. So he's the guy up top who's usually anchoring one side and let everyone else go and just holding one end down. He doesn't have that role on this team.
Yeah.
So if you're going to bring him in here, I feel like his bowling has to be utilized more. And if you're not going to utilize that bowling,
then look to another option.
Need to look to another option, maybe in the middle of Ponce.
Yeah, but I still really do think this is a very good team.
Yes, I agree.
With the current configuration as well, and so we'll see what they do in the coming days.
Absolutely, and we'll see what everybody here in Major League Cricket does because we have another doubleheader
2 games
tomorrow, Nate. 2 games, and the first one will feature the Texas Super Kings between the Washington Freedom. Texas Super Kings coming off an opening day win. Washington Freedom coming off a disappointing.
The closest game in the tournament.
The closest game. So disappointing way to end that first game, but they were close, right?
Yes.
Didn't have the performance they wanted to with the bat, but their bowling showed through. If they can couple the 2 together, it could be a different story. And then the second game features the LA Knight Riders and MI New York, 2 teams that are 0-1. So we'll get to see who's able to come and bounce back and if there are any adjustments made between those 2 sides.
Right. And in that first game, I want to say something about Washington. Regardless of where they finish in the table, this is going to be a team that's must watch, if you ask me. Because I think that no matter what happens in the first innings with this team,
they can always
they're going to make it close.
Yes, I think their bowling is good enough to make any
bowling
game close.
is they have so many bowling options.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming out of their nose. Yeah. So I think they're going to have the most close games in this tournament. And obviously TSK, wiped the floor with Who'd they play the first game?
The LA Knight Riders.
The LA Knight Riders. Yeah, they wiped the floor with them pretty much in that second innings.
Yeah, we'll see if Rusty can keep that going. Calvin Savage, right? We had him on an interview, and they were terrific. So, again, TSK is going to rely on those two to kind of anchor the bowling with Gerald Coatsy coming at that first change. Can they consistently do that? That's going to be the next question.
And that's the early game, too.
Yeah.
TSK's playing the early game. How many South Africans do they have in the team that are not going to get enough sleep tonight?
Well, that's a good question. Nate, there's 3 Americans that won't get enough sleep tonight. It's me, you, and Babarbai. We won't get enough sleep tonight because it is already 1:15, and we still have to go eat and get back to the hotel. But thank you guys so much for joining us on Big Innings. I've already lost my voice. I've been doing the PA announcing, and I've been screaming into that mic, so that's why you hear my voice kind of rasping up. I can already tell you, after Major League, I might not be able to talk for a whole month, Nate. So
I'll have to take over.
He's going to need to carry minor league, carry the show, carry everything. Nate does it anyways. Babarbai can do this by himself, so it's all good. For myself, for Babarbai, for Nate Hayes, thank you so much for joining us on another Big Innings.